The theme for this year is we've been doing Bible study, basically in Matthew, Gospel of Matthew. And because they are graduating from high school, we invite, some of them are graduating from high school. We have grade 10 to grade 12 actually as a combined class. So Julian is in grade 10, and we are missing another grade 10 girl today. And we usually have a couple more students, grade 12 students. And because many of them are graduating, we started to have this speaker thing that invite various parishioners in our church to come and share with us their journey. They're in different professions. And so Derek is here today, and he is a PhD student at U of T studying engineering. So, and we're happy to have you here.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Would you like me to talk a bit about myself and then just my monastic life a little bit, and then if you all have questions, I'd love to answer any question you might have. Just tell you the short version of my life, which is that I was born in Houston, Texas in the U.S. and grew up in an evangelical Southern Baptist tradition, and went to a Baptist university and seminary for a couple of years, and then decided, planning to go into some kind of ministry. And then through a series of events, switched streams and became an Episcopalian, which is the U.S. version of the Anglican Communion, and was a youth minister in 3 Episcopal churches between 1994 and 2004, and also was discerning monastic vocation, which in the Episcopal Church there are about 4 or 5 Bible communities for men, and looked into those and visited Holy Cross Monastery, which is our monastery in the Hudson Valley of New York, which is about 90 kilometers north of New York City. And through the discernment and the prayer and conversation with the brothers there, felt that I was called to try my vocation, as we say, and then entered as a postulant in January 2005. And we had 3 main stages in the formation. The first stage is the postulancy, which should last about 6 months. And then if the community and the brother want to continue, the novitiate lasts 2 to 3 years, which is a period of learning and deepening a sense of the work and the life of the community. And then annual profession, which can be 2 to 5 years, which is just sort of an intermediary stage. And then at the end of that is life profession. And I was life professed in the order in June of 2010. And we got the cross here to designate that status within the order. And so at the moment I live at the Priory, which is in the High Park area of Toronto. And I am a student at Wycliffe College, one of the Anglican colleges in the University of Toronto. And Trinity is across the street from us. And part of what I am doing now, after having been life professed, is kind of taking on the next phase of my formative journey, which I discerned for myself and with the aid of the church and other people in the order, was to be a priest. And so I'm now postulant in the Diocese of Toronto, which is part of the preparatory formative stage of priesthood, as well as a full-time student at Wycliffe. And so I wear several hats at the moment. I'm a brother, a student, a postulant. I also work for the York Credit Valley area of the diocese under Bishop Poole as a youth ministry coordinator and consultant, which involves me using a lot of my old youth ministry experience to help form adult leaders and healthy youth groups, and to be a resource person for leaders and clergy who are looking to help build and form their youth ministry. So kind of multi-layered life at the moment for me with all of those things going on. But the background of the order quickly is founded in 1884 in New York City to be initially a community of missionary priests. And the vision of the founder, Father Huntington, was that priests who were called to live in community and celibacy would live together, pray the daily office together, and do the things in and for and with the church that the established church was really not paying attention to at that time. And to kind of be a prophetic witness to the church and to the world. And since then it's emerged and evolved to include lay brothers and to include people from various countries. We have 4 monasteries at the moment. The Priory here, and then the main house I mentioned in New York. And we have a monastery in Santa Barbara, California, and a monastery in Grahamstown, South Africa. So we're sort of international, 35 brothers total, I believe. Maybe 36. We have a new one in New York. And so our calling is to pray. It is to live with God and with each other and in the community. It's to be of service to the church and to everyone, to guests who come visit us, to the places where we go out and serve, and to just be a help and encouragement and support to people as they live their Christian life. As we ourselves are called to live with God and to devote ourselves as much as we can, as fully as we can, to living with God and in God and to being a witness to that. And that takes various forms and expressions, but it's all essentially the same journey, and we each do that individually and share our experiences and our service with each other in the community, and then respond to God's invitation to us to serve and to grow in whatever way God wants us to do that.
Was it terrifying when you started to realize that you might be called to this life? I mean, how did that feel?
Yeah, it wasn't really terrifying. It's a traumatic transition, but to a person who is called to do it, it's at the same time exciting and life-giving. So just because there's trauma doesn't mean it's not good. It's like getting married is a trauma in a sense, because this is a radical, life-altering transition, but it's what you want to do, it's what you're called to do together. So it's at the end it's a joy of the adventure of that. I was telling the other group that it is a big shift in identity, because people in the world, so to speak, have their own place to live, their own job, their own kinds of freedoms to go where they want, do what they want, be in a relationship with who they want. And coming into a monastic community is giving up all that. So I don't get to decide where I'm going to live, who I'm going to live with, and what kind of relationships I'm going to have, except within some very narrow parameters. So to someone who's not called, it could be a very stifling, kind of entrapping kind of feeling, but for those of us who are, it's actually hugely freeing, because we're freed from a lot of struggles and decisions that we don't have to worry about. The flip side is that I don't have to worry about money or being clothed and fed and housed. It all just comes out of our common life together. I don't have to spend my time being anxious about, because a lot of the practical external things that people in society are struggling with, a lot of times on a daily basis. So that's an incredible gift, not to have to, really wonder. It just happens.
Which really isn't freedom from responsibility, is it? It's
No,
just-
well,
it's like you've got to have more trust
Yeah.
rather than less.
Mhm. Well, it's the shift in stewardship that nothing is. We live in a culture where we have the illusion that if I possess it, it's mine. And monastic life simply strips you of the illusion that anything is yours.
These guys play Team Fortress 2, and in Team Fortress 2, which is an online game, okay, one of the things that you can collect is hats. Your character can wear hats, and there are other things as well. But the fact is, none of those things are real.
Right.
Yeah.
But then, may I ask, is it important, I guess, what contribution are you making to society by living such a life? Or is it, okay, let me just leave it at that.
Yeah, there's really a two-pronged answer. One is that our prayer is a contribution in and of itself. That it has value, and that we don't always see the result of it, or do we need to, but by faith we believe that praying for each other and for the world and for its problems, it means something. And that's not doing nothing. That's actually profoundly meaningful. And that our service flows out of that then, and that we are, in every place where we live, directly contributing and helping people in very, very concrete ways, spiritually and materially, relationally. But it comes out of prayer. It comes out of a sense to remind people that they are not what they do and what they have. That their being is precious to God in and of itself.